Hi. For this interview, I'd like to welcome Alain Depuydt, who is managing partner at Vierny Partners. I will let Alain quickly introduce himself and what his company does, and then we will proceed with the actual interview. Over to you, Alain.
Thank you, Andreas, for the opportunity. I am an engineer by education, and after about 7 years of industrial international sales experience, I entered into the world of banking and finance. And it took me only 3 years to see that the banking environment did not suit or did not give an opportunity to express myself as a relationship manager and an asset manager. So about 17 years ago, I left the bank and joined the platform for independent asset management.
Okay.
And then after the great financial crisis gave my associate and me the opportunity to set up our own company and develop asset management for private individuals in line with our own criteria of ethics and avoidance of conflicts of interest.
Okay. So you, if I understand it, you're 4 people. So you decided to stay small, and before this interview we talked about your strategy, your strategic choices, and you told me that you had made some very specific strategic choices. Can you elaborate a bit on those?
Yes. Asset management and banking is a matter of personal trust.
Yeah.
It can be a matter of brand.
Yeah.
And so the choice that we have made is to work with private individuals who prefer to invest their personal trust in a person and not necessarily in a banking brand, which can be quite expensive by itself. So that's maybe 20% of the high net worth individuals. The other strategic choice that we made was to offer only one product, which in our industry is called the discretionary asset management mandate.
Yes.
So we don't do advisory, we don't do fiduciary services, we don't do family office type of services. So it's a single product. Some other strategic choices that we had to make was to limit the number of custodian banks that we would allow our clients to cooperate with us, which has an important impact on the operational efficiency.
Yeah. So we talked about operational efficiency. So that's one of the aspects that you decided, because you're still on a growth strategy, but you still want to stay small. So how has technology played into this?
Yes. If you are a small company and you are in a business of high value added, which depends on personal trust, you are not so scalable. You only have 24 hours and there's only so many personal relationships that you can invest in. So for us to grow, we need to be operationally efficient, which means that we have to make sure that the majority of our time is spent on being with our clients, interacting with our clients, and on managing the assets. So you want to reduce all the administrative, compliance, IT components. So you want to make sure that all the back office and all the normal administration that any company would have, that this is as efficient as possible, using off-the-shelf technology and using digital strategies, digital approach.
Okay, so you have invested in technology. So you have a mix of off-the-shelf, and I also understood that you have a product which is specific for you.
Yes. When you want to go on a digital strategy platform, the first thing that you have to get in order is your IT platform. And obviously, as a small company, there is limits to what you can do. So you know that you want to be in the cloud, but you don't necessarily have your own IT person to do this. And we had to change IT provider to find someone who understood our needs and who was interested to also who had the capability to look at our specifics. And then when you look for off-the-shelf solutions, many solutions are geared towards maybe companies that are 10 times, 100 times bigger than we are. So their solutions are commercially simply not available to us. It is not that our technology is so that our needs are so complex. And so at a certain point, we made a decision for, let's say, the main management tool, which would be the investment committee, that we wanted to go full paperless, that we wanted to be in a collaborative way. And any software that was out there, for example, WordPress, or for example, some other collaborative software purposes, would not have been user-friendly enough. And so at a certain point, the technology is now at this stage that when you have a good IT platform, you can write a specification, and we found people who were willing to develop this, let's say a web-based content management system. They were able to develop that for us from scratch based on a good specification. We paid something that was in the order of magnitude of 10, 20,000 euros. And the return on investment for us, I would say, was in a couple of months, because we really did achieve with this a lot of things, a big improvement on our operations.
Yeah, because that amount of money doesn't sound very high for something which is tailor-made, no?
No, but it depends on making a good specification. Where some people will spend 20,000 euro with a consultant just to go and get a specification. So, and then this is something that as an entrepreneur you have to know better than any consultant what you want out of this.
That's key. So that's one of your lessons learned, to be able to really specify what you want.
Yes. Well, in terms of key learnings, what I can also say is that key learnings, I will very gladly share some key learnings as a small company. We lost maybe a couple of years, very frustrated, in trying to find commercial service providers that could assist us. We wanted somebody to consult us, not somebody to sell us something. Either we were too small. There's no Accenture who's ever going to be interested in us, even if they have joint ventures with Microsoft, what have you. And the other place where we lost a lot of time was looking at what the competition and what the banks were doing. And you know what? It turns out that banking and asset management industry is quite conservative and is not best in class in terms of adopting new technology. And coming out of industry and having seen things out of the bank made us aware that we had to look for best-in-class approaches outside of our industry. We did this. And so today, it took a little bit of emancipation to understand that, unfortunately, even if we were smaller ones, and unfortunately, if we did not have the same, if we did not come from banking families, there was not so much that we could learn inside our industry. So we had to emancipate and to say, okay, now we're going to do things like we see, like we think should evolve, and we're going to try best in class by looking at approaches outside of our industry.
So look out of the box. So not try to, so that the best in class in the industry wasn't really best in class, if you want.
There was no best in class. You would like to believe that in certain aspects we are now best in class, but we don't have the ambition to conquer the world with it, you see. So we just, for ourselves, we want to be able to grow the business in a shrinking industry. One of the problems that probably explains why we could not find good examples is that our industry, the banking industry in Switzerland, private banking in Switzerland, and independent asset managers in Switzerland is a rapidly shrinking industry. And so people are looking to cut costs, people are looking to consolidate.
But they're not looking to invest.
No. Or if they invest, what do they want out of it? And so the breakthrough for us came when we finally started looking out of the box. We started just Googling to look for consultants, IT people who were willing to work with us on a fee basis and who were willing to look at what our ambitions were. So we found an IT provider whom we had never heard about, whom we had never found through audits, whom we would never have found by asking colleagues in our industry. And with this person, we were able to change our IT platform drastically. We did not pay less, but we understood that we had a lot more available, more options, and that we were really getting on a platform that was ready for the next 5 or 10 years.
Okay.
And with the same person, we were able to use him as a consultant. So he manages our IT platform on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, yeah.
And then anytime we have a project, we can attract providers. We can make the specs, and our IT consultant can look at our spec and give his first opinion. And then he can also validate technical solutions and see if it is integratable or not.
Yeah, yeah. So it was really important for you to have this own view of what you wanted, but then now when it comes to the implementation, it's the partner which you have chosen. So choosing a good partner, yes. And he is the one who now is your right yes. partner to move on. So you don't have an internal IT department now.
No, with 4 people you cannot have your own IT department. And more and more we find ourselves in terms of partnerships having the same typology of partners, yes. Meaning small entities, where you always have to consider the one-man risk criterion.
Yes.
But usually, if you have good technology, you can change provider easily. You can always find somebody else to manage already existing processes. So we have more success in working with individuals, just like our clients also trust more. Invest in a personal relation more than investing in some big, let's say, brand where people change all the time and where the personal trust can be broken by just some internal restructuring, for example.
Okay, cool. So to sum up sort of our conversation, so the key insights I'm getting from this conversation is first, the importance of having a strategy, making really strategic choices, yes. In terms of product, in terms of market, and in an industry which is a shrinking industry. That's one thing I took from what you said. The second thing is that you have a digital strategy. You have a digital strategy, and you decided really to use technology as a tool to grow, yes. And to get the right product. You had to do two things. First of all, know very well what you wanted yourself. So invest in really specifying your product. And the second thing, which I found interesting in what you said, is that looking for best practices, you realize that in your industry, there weren't really practices that you wanted to emulate. So you had to look for something else.
I can add to that none of our clients were asking to change anything. They don't know exactly what they want, but when they see how we have a new approach, we see quite enthusiastic uptake. So they are happy.
Yes,
they are convinced that yes, now it's more practical, it's more convenient, and there is better quality information available. Which means that also with our clients, we can spend less time on just exchanging the information or the dissemination of information, and we can spend more time on really together processing and evaluating the information.
Okay, yes. And then finally, so this was really something that you went ahead and you decided, taking advantage of actually being small and saying, we have our own ideas. Then you found the right partners. Also saw that maybe the bigger partners were not the right for you, found a smaller partner, and now find yourself in a situation where you have external partners, need to manage the risk of dealing with small partners, but because you really have this solid IT strategy, IT concept in place, it's a risk you can manage.
Yes, correct.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Andreas.
Okay. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye.